Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Einstein. Thank you all for joining me again tonight as we do today's daily reading for James Allen's Daily Meditations. This, of course, will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning that you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading, as this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right here on this podcast with y'all. So I'm looking forward to seeing what today's brings. The last two days have been about meekness, and honestly, it's been a fantastic couple of days with the readings. Meekness is something that is always a good reminder because we can get so caught up in filling up our own, exalting ourselves. Maybe is a better way to say it. That the concept of meekness can be thrown aside. So I'm excited to see what today brings. So here we go. This is November 6th reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. The meek man resists none, and thereby conquers all. He who imagines he can be injured by others, and he who seeks to justify and defend himself against them, does not understand meekness, does not comprehend the essence and meaning of life. He abused me, he beat me, he defeated me, he robbed me. In those who harbor such thoughts, hatred will never cease. Sayest thou thy neighbor has spoken thee falsely? Well, what of that? Can a falsity hurt thee? That which is false, and there is an end of it. It is nothing to thee that thy neighbor should speak falsely of thee, but it is much to thee that thou shouldst resist him, and seek to justify thyself, for by doing so thou givest life and vitality to thy neighbor's falseness, so that thou art injured and distressed. Take all evil out of thine own heart, then shalt thou see the folly of resisting it in another. Wow, that one was kind of wordy. We had a lot of thyselfs and older Englishy sounding vibe to this one. So excuse the simple phrasing on that one, but I enjoy it. This is so true. I'm still at times very quick to defend my opinions, to defend myself, and I've gotten a lot better about it, but I still do it. I still will do it instead of just walking away, allowing somebody to be, especially when it's something false. You know, it's amazing how quick my ego gets attached to things because as soon as something happens that offends it, even though I know I'm doing everything right to the best of my ability, as soon as something happens that my ego can take personally, we'll jump right to it initially if I don't catch it. A lot of times, at least, I can not take the actions or say the words, but sometimes it still catches up to me. So, but I do have to say I have my moments where the anger is not there, the frustration's not there, and the desire to defend myself or the desire to go on attack is not there. And those are the times I'm grateful for and I'm working towards. And those do become more and more frequent the more this work that you do. So here we go. Let's go through this again. I'm enjoying this meek theme here. The meek man resists none and thereby conquers all. It's an interesting concept, isn't it? When you don't sit there and engage with anybody over whatever they're saying falsely, it stops it from growing. You give it no energy, you give it no depth. And when you're living righteously, Christ-like, suddenly you have no reason to defend it yourself or go on the attack against maybe a false statement or claim. Your character will speak for itself. And that's why it says, thereby conquers all. I need not fight. I need not to go into this and defend myself. I don't need to do anything about it. It'll handle itself. And it does every time. It's kind of amazing, actually. He who imagines he can be injured by others, who seeks to justify and defend himself against them, does not understand meekness, does not comprehend the essence and meaning of life. So if you're, because I was one of these people, I think many people are like this actually. He who imagines who he who imagines he can be injured by others and who seeks to justify and defend himself against them does not understand meekness. So, and think a lot of people walk around waiting for this to happen too. We want to be hurt by others, or we're walking around waiting for someone to offend us. He who imagines he can be injured by others. When I have this perception that people can hurt me, people can say things that upset me and really bother me down to my core, and then that gives me justification to go after them and defend myself. I'm pretty attached to my opinions at that point. I'm pretty attached to my self-exalted feeling of correctness. The selfish giving of my opinion to justify and validate my own stance on something is just purely self-serving. And I never knew it till I really started reading James Allen, just how much that is. How we need to stop giving our opinion, how selfish of that can be, especially when it's not asked for. It's kind of amazing. But the second part of that, it does not comprehend the essence and meaning of life. It is to love. It is to function from love, to help grow and stand up and support your fellow man, and to be of service to God and others in your life. That is the essence and meaning of life. Not to go seek a battle with somebody over some words they said, just to justify my own misery, really, at the end of the day. All right, he goes on to say, he abused me, he beat me, he defeated me, he robbed me. Look at all that blaming going on there. I love it. It's always fun. Look what he did to me. Look what I'm going through because they did this to me. I love pointing fingers. Because as soon as I point a finger, I stop looking at me. And that was always one of the things I sought to do most, was to stop looking at me. So, in those who harbor such thoughts, hatred will never cease. Yeah, you'll always be resentful because you feel like an individual or the world or an institution has done me wrong. I feel slighted, disrespected, like it owes me something. Hatred will never cease. What a painful statement that is, because it's true. Sayest thou, thy neighbor has spoken thee falsely. So you say that your neighbor's spoken against you falsely. Your neighbor's lied about you. Well, what of it? Can a falsity hurt thee? That which is false, and there is an end of it. All things that are false will die in the light, like we were saying at the beginning of this, right? And what he's simply saying here is, so your neighbor lied about you, and is that actually going to hurt you, or is it just your ego and your concern for other people's opinion of you that's going to be affected? Take a look at it, because in the end, you might find that it can't really do anything to you. It is nothing to thee that thy neighbor should speak falsely of thee. It doesn't matter. He's saying it has no impact on you at all that your neighbor speaks falsely of you. That's their business. Just like everything you do, every emotion you have, and every belief that you act upon, every action you take is yours. Everything they do is theirs. Has nothing actually to do with you. Has nothing to do with me when someone talks about me. So it is nothing to thee that thy neighbor should speak falsely of thee, but it is much to thee that thou shouldst resist him, and seek to justify thyself, for by doing so thou givest life and vitality to to thy neighbor's falseness, so that thou art injured and distressed. If someone lied about you, said incorrect information, has nothing to do with you. But if you get upset and have to go defend yourself to this person, and you inflict a hurt on yourself over it, because your ego got attached and it's saying that oh, this is going to destroy us, and we come up with some self-serving fear to justify our actions, well then we have given it life, we have given it energy, we've allowed it to injure and distress us when it was a falsity anyway. All it did was harm us to go engage in that. Does nothing for the other. We can just let it go and live our lives, and literally nothing would happen. Take all evil out of thine own heart, which is ignorance, which is selfishness and self-centeredness. That's what we've talked about that with evil, that there's no true evil. It's just where the good and the light is not yet. So that's where ignorance is still existing. So take all evil out of thine own heart, then shalt thou see the folly of resisting it in another, because it's not about me. When I sought to eradicate the ignorance and sin in my own heart, I found that it was any resentment and hatred and anger and frustration towards anybody else was coming from inside of me. It was coming from my own insecurities and fears and harms and resentment. So again, I'll say, if mine is because of stuff going on in me, then there's no use going and giving my energy to something someone else has said or done, because that is 100% about them. Nothing to do with me. And that's not always the easiest principle to practice, at least from my personal experience. So, but I am getting better at it through practice. That's something I'm very, very grateful for. So, all right. Well, I hope this theme of talking about meekness continues, because it's doing my soul some good, and I hope it's doing some good for you guys out there too. So, I am looking forward to seeing what tomorrow brings us. So, until next time, thanks.